We have the tech to get food delivered in 15 minutes, but we all have horror stories about buying tickets. The Game Time app gives fans the advantage. Get amazing tickets in just a few taps. Fees are included, so what you see is what you pay. And the Game Time guarantee means authentic tickets at the best price every time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets to concerts, sports, comedy, and more with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gill Alexander on VSiN.
Hour number 2 of a numbers game at VSiN, the sports betting network, VSiN.com, Game Plus, iHeartRadio, YouTube TV, Sirius XM channel 158. It's Gill Alexander. Coming to you from San Francisco this week, Kelley Bydlon, producer number 9, so much more than a producer, back at the studio there in Las Vegas. Everything good, Kelley?
Everything's great, man.
You enjoyed having Crack in studio there with you yesterday?
It was a good time. Yeah, Crack and I, we hung out with Danny afterward. We had a few-minute conversation. Oh. We talked a little bit about casinos. We talked a little bit about movies. I had a movie recommendation from Bill Krackomberger yesterday, the movie Snatch. Have you ever seen the movie Snatch, Gil? We were talking about it.
I think I did it in the theater, I believe.
Yeah, Guy Ritchie flick back in the day. Brad Pitt, Jason Statham in there. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. Crack hadn't seen it. He was talking about pigs eating bodies, and that was one of the best lines of the movie.
Wasn't that the movie where it was difficult understanding everything that was said because the accent was so?
Yes, it is a British crime movie. Yes, so yes, heavy British accents.
Chris Fallica standing by to talk World Cup with us, not just today, the final 3 games of the round of 32, but starting tomorrow, double-header round of 16 matches. So we'll talk to Chris here after we read the tweets. Chris Heath, referring to the fog that sometimes gets in here. Old Carl the Fog, they call it here. No Emu Doug driving. Hey, look for somewhere to pull off and try to get a bet down on hot dogs, but it's hot dogs. Yeah, but Gill has an angle, but it's hot dogs. You watch tennis, but you eat hot dogs driving. There's a little stream of consciousness from No Emu Doug. Rules for society. Not to be a downer today, Gill, but as I watch Colorado burn, please everyone be aware of what you can create with campfires, cigarette butts, and fireworks. Please just be responsible. Everyone, as you enjoy the weekend, always nice to spend my mornings listening. A great public service announcement from Rules for Society there. And Glenn Ryder, I can't hear Steal My Sunshine without also hearing more by the Andrea True Connection. The old disco era song, more. Wow, I don't make that connection. That's interesting. But now that you say it, I kind of hear it. You know that song, Kelley?
No, I don't even know what song you're talking about. Might have to have Foster fire it up.
How do you like it? How do you like it?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Good job. I know exactly what you're talking about now.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, he is here not to sing, but to give us soccer knowledge. It is the Bear, Chris Fallica from Fox Sports. You can follow him on Twitter at Chris Fallica, Fallica, the host of the Bear Bets podcast Empire as well, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. Chris, good morning, sir.
Well, I sung last time. I gave you Real American for Kelley and his American bandana. And those, I think you're Snatch, fantastic movie. I think you're confusing it a little bit with Train Spotting. Train Spotting was like when you needed the English to English translation because of how Ewan McGregor, another great movie, by the way.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. So, Chris, before we get into your plays, and thank you for doing this so thoroughly, not just for today, but for the weekend as well. I want to ask you, because yesterday I started the show by saying, besides the incessant flopping, right? The thing that bothers the American sensibility, of course, I'm speaking for all America. I'm taking that responsibility.
Good representative.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate that. The thing that bothers me the most is, and I'll do the pecking order, the one that I think I'm most justified in is the penalties, the sort of subjective, the more subjective, obviously there's some more obvious than others, but the more subjective penalties that are called in the penalty box that lead to PKs, the fact that the crime doesn't fit the punishment doesn't fit the crime. So in other words, you turn a 10 to 15% chance at a goal into like an 85% chance at a goal, if not higher. That's the thing about soccer that I think American sports fans have the most trouble with. At least that's what I have the most trouble with. The other stuff that I hear a lot of people complaining about, I don't think is stuff that we should complain about. I think it's part of this quote unquote beautiful game, like those so thin, the thin margin of goal that is negated by the thinnest margin of offside. You're a huge soccer fan. You love that about the game of soccer?
No, I hate it.
You do.
At some point,
okay.
we joke about it in our big soccer chat. Like, a game's gone is what we say. Like, that's what we were saying last night with the goal being called back by VAR for game's gone. If that's what we're using, like, come on. I get if you're a half a body length offsides or your leg is offsides, but that's really what we want to be doing is slowing things down to a freeze frame to determine why, and to say that the Portuguese defender wasn't intentionally trying to head the ball. Like, come on. It's a brutal way to go out for Croatia.
So brutal.
In the last Euros, they went out in like the 8th minute of stoppage time as well on the last kick of the game. So the last two major competitions, they have gone out in brutal fashion. So I get it. I get the rules, but there needs to be a little bit of common sense in interpretation there. The one thing that is good in the sport, I don't know if you've talked about it this morning or not, is just having a chip in the ball. Imagine that.
Yes.
Putting a chip in the ball.
How long have we been talking about this?
I didn't think that was possible to do, right? And put a chip in a ball to spot things or figure things out. How could FIFA do it and not the NFL?
As the first thing I texted yesterday, I'm like, oh, a chip in the ball. Because honestly, if there was no chip in the ball, right, they probably let that play go in the Croatia game because it was imperceptible that the Croatian player, grazed that soccer ball. But because of the chip, they knew that he did, and therefore it determined the outcome ultimately of the game. Imagine if we had that in the National Football League. We've only been talking about this since the dawn of time.
Well, I got a question. I had a question about the chip in the ball thing because I think we're all very pro it, right? But like, Chris, at what point? I think I saw a couple of these tweets, and I was one of these people too. Like, what has to register on the Richter scale of it to actually be a hit on the ball? Because that was like a graze of the hair. Does that count as hair's part of the body? So that
clearly it does.
Okay,
yes. He should have cut his hair.
Yeah, everybody better start doing that.
And the offsides thing I was saying, again, just your mind goes. The equivalent in the NFL is that when the ball leaves the quarterback's hand, the wideout, let's say, cannot have any part of his body past the second to last defender. You imagine how much lower scoring would be? Like, I'm sorry, Justin Jefferson, but a shoulder pad was behind the D-back, and I know the safety was back there, but that's offsides. Okay, triple header today, Chris. Australia, Egypt, Argentina, Cape Verde, Colombia, Ghana. It's the last of the round of 32s. What are we doing with these?
Kind of an uninspiring type looking day, to be fully transparent and honest. But again, you never know what's going to develop. Maybe in the late game we get a shock. We could. Egypt, Australia feels like both teams to score. To me, it looks like Mo Salah is going to be available. Egypt, however, do have a couple of key injuries on their back line, and even an offensively challenged Australia should be able to find the goal here. This feels like a 1-1, both teams to score. Yes, draw super live here as well between two teams that aren't separated by very much. Argentina, Cape Verde, again, it feels very straightforward. And of course, we thought that Congo and England was going to be pretty straightforward. But all of the things that you would expect to bet here and want to bet here, and that most average soccer fans are going to bet, Messi to score, win to nil, all those are right around minus 200 or so. So, I mean, unless you're willing to swallow that, then you have to look elsewhere. Argentina are so tough to score on DK, and I know on some other apps as well, and I don't know what's available in Las Vegas. You can bet the correct score line. Argentina wins 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, and I found that at plus 110 So that's what I bet. I mean, I don't expect Cape Verde to score. I don't think unless it gets crazily out of hand. I don't think 4 or 5 are on the table here. It feels like a match where Argentina will just kind of shut it down and defend if they get up multiple goals. So I played that. And then the game that I do think ultimately could lead to a surprise shock result tonight would be the final game today, Colombia-Ghana. I think all of the under 2.5 is on the table. First half draw is on the table, and draw for the match is on the table. I think Colombia, while they have the most energetic, enthusiastic, awesome fan base of any team in the country, I think they're a little overrated for their play on the field. I mean, you had the predictable 3-1 win against Uzbekistan. Then you're fortunate to get a late winner against Congo. Went through the motions in an awful game against Portugal. Luis Diaz has not had the best of tournaments. Ghana doesn't even try and score. They had 15 shots combined in the 3 group stage games. So they're going to defend. They're going to make this extremely uncomfortable. Remember, this is a team that held England to 0-0. So it's not like they're fully without structure and ability to keep a high-powered team down. They lost 2-1 to Croatia in a game that didn't matter. Going to be a very uneasy 90 minutes for Colombia. Maybe they do get a goal in the 90 to ultimately avoid extra time. But I think if we're looking for one of these 3 games today to really yield a shock result, I think Ghana is a team with Carlos Queiroz, the well-known international coach. Has been a bunch of places. The way he compacts that defense, it's not going to be very easy for Colombia to score. So I think all of those unders and draw type bets are on the table tonight.
I'll tell you how I know that's true. I kind of have PTSD from that United States-Ghana match. What was that year in the World Cup where Ghana went up 1-0 and then they just
2010. Yep.
They went up 1-0 and then they
someone might have had Ghana that. Someone might have had Ghana that night in South Africa and not been very popular in the studio.
I can't imagine who that was. Chris Fallica. Never letting his patriotism get in the way of a good bet. We'll talk with Chris more on the other side. Tomorrow's first round of 16 doubleheader and Sundays as well. Next on A Numbers Game right here at VSiN.
You're here because you want an edge. That's what separates listeners from winners. But let's be real, mindset alone doesn't get bets home. Pros win because they've got the tools, the data, and the discipline. And now so can you. VSiN Pro gives you access to the same real-time insights the sharps use. No secrets, no fluff, just actionable info that moves markets. Tap the link and see why serious bettors are turning knowledge into profit with VSiN Pro.
A Numbers Game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
The Sharp Plays is in full effect mode, unmatched transparency with records updated daily, AI betting analysis, real-time global betting information, and alerts directly from the pros. You could scan the QR code there on your screen for more. Sharpplays.com. Check them out. I always say it's the best listeners in the game here on A Numbers Game, and I mean that because y'all are hilarious, y'all are witty, y'all add to the show. That's the biggest thing of all. I think in many cases, GV at New Jersey, New York, tweets in. He says, regarding the chip in the ball for Croatia, Portugal yesterday and how we don't have one in the NFL, didn't the NFL admit that there was a chip in the ball and it affected a touchdown call in a Ravens-Bengals playoff game like 4 years ago? You are correct. This was the 2023 AFC wildcard game between the Bengals and the Ravens, which the Bengals won. And if you remember, they won it 24-17. The biggest turnaround in that game, remember, was a 14-point swing because Ravens were on the Bengals goal line and Tyler Huntley leapt over the goal line to try to score. And Logan Wilson, the Bengals linebacker, punched the ball out. And Sam Hubbard went 98 yards the other way for a touchdown for the Bengals. 14-point swing in a game the Bengals won by 7. And after the game, because fans were like, are you kidding me? Wasn't he over? The NFL said that Next Gen Stats, or the NFL admitted that Next Gen Stats used the ball's embedded microchip data to confirm just how close Huntley got revealing that the ball got as close as 0.6 yards. So, I mean, 0.6 yards, that doesn't sound like, that sounds like more than just I think it was 0.6 of centimeter or something like that. So it was super close, but yes, they used a chip to determine that. So thank you, New Jersey, New York. So there is some kind. We're bringing Chris Fallica back into the show from Fox Sports at Chris Fallico on Twitter. Again, courtesy of the Progressive Guest Line. Do you remember that when they cited the chip?
Oh yeah,
day?
absolutely. I can remember that play clearly because I can. I can remember it being like, oh, of course the Ravens were going to be live here as a dog to go to Cincinnati and win without Lamar. But of course, then that one play just completely flip-flopped everything. Yeah, I absolutely remember that. But I don't remember the league admitting that there was. I remember the play, but I don't remember the whole next gen deal.
You know, when you're in the midst of the NFL playoffs, you're like so into every game. There's obviously multiple games, and then you're thinking about the next games the next week. So I can remember like on Guessing Lines that next Monday bringing it up, but like never lingering on it afterwards. But yeah, that was sort of like out of left field. Like, wait, we do have a chip? I thought we didn't have a chip. Now we got a chip. Okay, tomorrow the round of 16 begins. So round of 32 ends today with the final 3 spots determined in the triple header today. Then it's to the round of 16, which become double headers. Tomorrow, we have a couple games: Canada, Morocco, Paraguay, and France. How are you treating Canada, Morocco?
The price here is a little interesting to me that Morocco are only minus 265 to advance. That tells me one of two things. Either the odds makers completely are way off on their opinion of Morocco, and it's a bad number, and Morocco is a great bet, or that it's low for a reason, and Canada are super live here. Now, remember, Morocco went out the other night and played that unbelievably physical match that went to kicks against the Dutch, and they won on penalties. So maybe it will take them a little bit of additional time to recover from that. I think first half draw. I think we can kind of like what we saw yesterday with the Portugal and Croatia. Both teams kind of come out, and if Morocco is a little sluggish early, we get to that. And then I think the better play there is probably Ashraf Hakimi for Morocco over 2.5 shots. Best defender in the world, right back in the world. He loves to fire the ball, and taking the shot on goal part of it out of the equation. I think over 2.5 shots is really good for Hakimi. And then the other game, it's just square central. Whatever popular bet you want to make, Paraguay, France. This is not France will not go into this game the way Germany did and just kind of let Paraguay kind of hang around and get a goal before the half. France is an entirely different level. They could have had 6 against Sweden the other day. So whatever you want to bet, France to win 2-0. France over a goal and a half in the first half. Like I said, I think they come out early and just kind of step on their throat and leave no doubt. And then Michael Elise, who leads the tournament in assists right now with 5, I think he's highly likely to get another one.
If Paraguay keeps that close, let's say they give France a sweat, does it immediately catapult you into this, man, Team USA might be so much better than we think we are kind of mindset?
No, it doesn't. It just leads me to believe that Paraguay just really hunkered down in a knockout round match and made things very difficult on France. Yeah, I try to avoid the whole transitive property there of beat A, beat B. A totally different animal now that we're in the knockout rounds.
Right. Of course, Paraguay did that against Germany in the group stage. It should be noted too. So winning on penalty kicks. Okay, to Sunday, another doubleheader, round of 16. Brazil against Kelley Bydlon's Norway team, and then England and Mexico, where the scene is going to be pandemonium.
Kelley's rowing there, right? And you getting going. I don't mind both teams to score in Brazil, Norway, but what I do like, I think Vini Jr. has been really good in the tournament. I see this as an opportunity for him to maybe all the talk about Holland and Norway. I think Vini Jr. reminds people of the caliber of player that he is. I like him, anytime goal scorer, plus 130. And then I like the 2+ goals / assists at 4-1 on that. So I think he gets a goal and maybe either gets another goal or contributes on an assist. So Norway did get through. They did beat Ivory Coast. They got the goal late. Very fortunate to do so. Brazil should advance, but both teams to score. I don't mind that either. But I think Vinny Jr. has a big one. And then the match that we all are waiting for, the one that everybody kind of pointed out, and we pointed out on this show beforehand, how England, if everything played to form, we were going to get a round of 16 match at Azteca against Mexico, and that's what we got. It's going to be potentially an all-time World Cup scene. I believe Mexico, in their history at Azteca, have lost twice in competitive matches. It's something like 79 wins, 17 draws, and 2 losses, or something along those. It's a ridiculous record. So England's already kind of sandbagging the whole match. We can't get acclimated to the elevation. We don't have optimum time to come in there, so Mexico's yet to concede in the tournament so far. I will say that England showed a good bit of resolve a good bit of guts against Congo coming back. They were down 1-0, and it looked like for a long time that they were not going to score and get the equalizer. They did. I think we all want to see this match go to extra time, and I think there's a really good chance that it will. So draw plus 215 is on the table. Julian Quinones for Mexico, over 2.5 shots is another individual player prop that I like there. And I'm gonna go flip the script here and bet England to win in penalties at plus 750. We all know England's history in major competitions, in matches decided on penalties, and how it is not good. But if this does get to kicks, England have a great keeper in Jordan Pickford. They've got great penalty taker in Harry Kane, and they got some other guys too who can step up to the spot and make kicks. So plus 750 on a possible situation where the match very easily could go to kicks, and then you get 7.5 to 1 on England to win. I'll take a little bit of a flyer on that. But yeah, this has draw written all over it.
Wow, I like that. Okay, before you go, we have a minute left here. Golden Boot, keeping in mind that Lionel Messi has a game to play today, so he can add to this. But right now it's Messi at 6, Kylian Mbappe at 6 goals scored. Then it's Erling Haaland and Harry Kane, the aforementioned, both at 5 goals. And then there's actually 4 tied at 4, but one of them plays for Senegal, so he's done. But it's Ousmane Dembele at 4. It's Mikel Oyarzabal, our pre-flop play, at 4. And Vinicius Jr. of Brazil at 4. Any thoughts on this? Your instinct?
It's Messi for me, just because the path that they have and the teams that they're going to play opposite them. You look at Mbappe and Dembele and the French. You've got the match against Paraguay, sure, but then you're probably going to have to play Morocco, and then you're going to have to play either Spain or Portugal in the semi, and those will not be high-scoring games. So, while I'm sure he is favorite or co-favorite, I do think Messi would be the bet for me there.
Yeah, Messi plus 120, Mbappe plus 140.
Thank you, Kelley. Messi with a game to play today to add to that list. World Cup, just been awesome. Thank you, Chris. Appreciate it very much. Chris,
you got
weekend,
it. Have a great 4th of July weekend, everybody.
I don't know a single person who's not wrapped up in this World Cup. We'll come back. Paul Carr will join us, but before that, some baseball next.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
If you're betting at Circa Sportsbook, they got a nice little exciting thing going on. For a limited time, you can fund your wagers with crypto using BurraPay. That's BURRA, BurraPay, and pay no fees. It's fast, secure, and another way Circa continues to innovate for sports bettors. Visit BurraPay.com to learn more and take advantage of fee-free crypto wagering before August 31st, exclusively at Circa Sportsbook. It's an interesting little sidebar since we just read that promo. I was offered, and this is not the first time, because I remember it being offered at one time some years ago, and I said no to it. And maybe I regret that one. I can't remember what the price of crypto was at that point. But when you are getting paid by, let's just say, not your standard sports books, Kelley.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, you will be offered, hey, would you rather get paid in crypto? And so again, just yesterday, right? Same sort of offer.
Mm-hmm.
And what's the price of a Bitcoin? Like $61,000 a Bitcoin now.
Sure.
So it's sort of like, it's one of those things though, where you do pause for a moment. I do anyway. Some people love getting paid in crypto. Some people like having that speculation going on. Do I regret the one from a few years back? Maybe. I don't know what the price was at that point, quite frankly. But do you ever get that? And do you ever consider it?
Yeah, the one I was jumping. Yes, but no, I don't really consider it just because I never got into it. I never got into the crypto early on, and it's one of those kind of like you're talking about now, Gill. It's like you're just the not buyer's remorse, right? But you're like, I didn't get in on it early on, and just every day that goes by, it seems like it's just a worse and worse decision. And I don't know, you still don't jump in. The one I was thinking of though when you brought it up was we've also had this run of athletes here recently asking to get paid in crypto in their contracts, right? Aaron Rodgers, Trevor Lawrence, Klay Thompson, all these guys asking for this stuff when working out their last contracts.
Yeah. Not to get to sports talk radio, but this discussion now reminds me also, this is obviously the Kawhi Leonard trade earlier this week. And one of the tentacles of that we didn't discuss is, again, shout out to Pablo Torre, who is on a journalistic run unlike any other in modern day sort of not only sports journalism, but maybe in all of American journalism. Basically because you have media companies that have angles, right, and are controlled by corporate entities, whereas Pablo isn't. And so Pablo can do independent journalism. Getting to the point, though, the Kawhi Leonard thing, man, he's all over that too, and he's been all over that, right? Where Ballmer ends up getting Kawhi to the Clippers because he was willing to sort of circumvent the cap by creating, allegedly by creating other company, right, where Kawhi would get paid, around the cap, circumventing the cap in a completely bogus, manner. And now to get traded back to the Raptors, well, the point that Pablo is making is now the one party that could make life miserable for the NBA in pursuing this, getting Kawhi back might, in a very strange turn of events, might actually quell what could have been this massive PR problem for the NBA. Because now if the Raptors have Kawhi back, which they do, maybe they're less likely to care about what has already transpired, if you catch my drift.
Yeah.
So it's, yeah.
You also have the Raptors owner, Larry Tannenbaum, is the
Correct.
chairman of the NBA Board of Governors, who is charged basically with coming up with the punishment or whatever comes out of the Kawhi Leonard situation. So that feels a little convenient, Gill. But I'm still a little blown away. I don't know. Over this whole investigation, I know Adam Silver at the beginning of the beginning of the NBA Finals made a plea basically that this investigation had to be sped up. And we're at a point now where Kawhi Leonard just got traded, and I don't think I'm the only one sitting around asking, like, did this get, like, were there checks behind the scenes that we're not aware of? I don't really know how without us knowing the results of this investigation, I'm kind of surprised the NBA allowed a trade to occur.
Yeah. As you said, just to clarify, Larry Tannenbaum, not only part owner of the Raptors, but the chairman of the NBA's Board of Governors. Mm-hmm. So I'll let that lay there. Pablo Torre, again, we got to get him back on the show. Yep. Man has been amazing.
Yeah, he's been awesome. And I told you off air too, man. I was like, I was reading something yesterday. I have not spent a second thinking about this. With every, we've heard a lot about the past, 8 years in a row, 9 years in a row now, where we haven't had a back-to-back NBA champion, right? Great piece yesterday I was reading about just if Kawhi didn't leave Toronto. right? And it's just, you forget about the guys that were there on that Raptors team in 19. I mean, you're talking about OG Anunoby's probably sticking around, right? You were still getting, a couple years of Kyle Lowry. Serge Ibaka was there at the time having big seasons. The list goes on and on. I had Norman Powell, who's been awesome. Pascal Siakam. A lot of these guys are probably still in Toronto, and they're probably one of the best teams in the Eastern Conference for years.
Yeah, I talked about my buddy Dave Check, who did the Showtime docuseries Action and a myriad of other sports documentaries, Aces, about all 29 number ones on the ATP tour in history. That's airing on Prime now. He has a what if sports documentary in the can that's ready to come off at some point. Think about it, the Monica Seles stabbing, if Nick Saban is with the Dolphins, right? That whole thing, and he never goes to Alabama. But as you just pointed out, the NBA has a what if every few days. All of those trades, right, create this parallel universe. It's all sliding doors with all of these trades in a manner, because there's so many superstars involved, that exceeds other sports. It's incredible.
Lynn Sanity was on that team. Sorry, I had to add that. Jeremy Lin was on that team.
By the way, have you seen the Lynn Sanity doc?
Yes.
It's one of the most amazing periods of what, like, I think we still underrate that whole episode. It's incredible.
Okay, so I think you could say underrate. You still underrate, and no, I guess I would use the same words. It's just still. I think I would have thought my brain would have gotten past that at this point, Gill, however many years later. No, it's still amazing. Whenever you go and start re-watching some of those highlight reels,
it's incredible.
It's just incredible. And the fact that it happened in New York City with the Knicks, just wild.
Nemesis Enforcer on Twitter. I hit on Bovada in the fall of 2015 for $2,100. Got paid out 3 Bitcoin. Of course, I sold and got cash.
Yep.
Hit me what could have been, had I held on to one of them, I would have had $50K at some point on them. Yeah, well, I mean, right now it's $61K per Bitcoin. Just Call Me Skip. I think we Just Call Me Skip has a problem with our still running a certain promo, Kelley. He says, I think we all know what Bill's doing up that early. Perhaps it's time for a new commercial. Bill 80 with the Visa newsletter every morning at the wee hours. Great discipline on his part. And Sports Resurgence, I says, thank you both for your segment on the hot dog contest earlier. One of my favorite events to watch each year. Good tip after the women's event at 11 a.m. Eastern. See how the contestants do. And if they don't hit personal best, take the unders on the men's total. That's a great strategy. Sports Resurgence as well. That sort of dovetails for those who missed what we were talking about earlier. I have never bet this before, but I am, because it is going to be 95 degrees. And the only other time it was this hot, or expected to be this hot in the past, was in 2010 when it was 95 degrees. And that was Joey Chestnut's smallest output ever in the 2010 Nathan's Coney Island hot dog eating contest. It was his lowest output ever. He was only able to down 54 hot dogs and buns in 10 minutes. Only 54 that year. So I'm feeling underish on both Chestnut and the almost as dominant women's contestant, Miki Sudo. And so the way that I ended up betting it, I do have a little too much respect for Chestnut to do him under straight, but I did Miki Sudo under 39 and then Chestnut and Sudo combined under 110. I'm seeing 110.5 on that for exactly the same reason you're looking at, but he's what Sports Resurgence is suggesting might even be smarter, which is why even bother with it pre-flop? Wait to see what happens in the women's competition first and then bang it out right after that with any in-contest bets. Kelley, you and I didn't even talk about our bets beforehand, and you landed on almost the same ones I did.
The exact same one. I didn't play both. I did play the Chestnut Sudo under 110.5. I'm in there with you as well. I think we had the one big Sudo year where she got into the 50s. I think she probably is the decider here, but I think that the heat, you bring it up. Yeah. And then I can't get off. I think Joey Chestnut, we talked a lot about this coming back last year and I get it. It makes sense. We've talked about this in other sports, right? Like that you're the superstar making the return. The pressure is on for you to show up and have a big day. And he did, right? Does he feel like that? Does he feel that much pressure to perform and put up that kind of performance this time around? I don't really think so. I think the man knows he can just show up and he can cruise to a win by 15 dogs. So, yeah, I think I like that under 110.5.
16 years older in the 95-degree temperature and nobody to push him to try to break his own record, let alone get to his over-under of 70 hot dogs and buns tomorrow. Come back. Baseball, as promised, next on A Numbers Game right here at VSiN.
On A Numbers Game, the right data changes everything, and the data behind Shopify is hard to argue with. Millions of businesses worldwide run on it, including our own VSiN store. When we launched, Shopify's templates and AI tools got us live fast. Professional looking from day one. No tech background needed. Shopify Checkout converts more customers and makes it easy for returning fans to come back and buy again in a single click. Shopify's built-in AI assistant Sidekick is there whenever you need help, building, troubleshooting, or just figuring out your next move. Check out what we built at vsin.com/store. Then go build something of your own. All you need is the idea. Shopify handles the rest. Start your free trial at shopify.com/vsin. That's shopify.com/vsin. Shopify.com/vsin.
A Numbers Game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
This 4th of July, we're bringing back something we rarely do, a multi-year VSiN Pro subscription. Right now, you can get 2 full years of VSiN Pro for just $299. That's access through July 2028 at nearly 70% off the regular monthly price. You'll get our NFL season betting guide, daily best bets, real-time betting splits from DraftKings and Circa, AI-powered prop projections, 24/7 video on the VSiN Watch app, and every betting guide, season preview, and VSiN Pro feature we release over the next 2 years. But don't wait. This special 4th of July offer disappears after July 7th. Just goes away. Head to vsin.com/subscribe now to lock in 2 years of VSiN Pro for just $299. That's vsin.com/subscribe. Gill Alexander in San Francisco, Kelley Bydlon back in Las Vegas. Happy 4th of July, by the way, everybody. A day before our 250th birthday. Yeah, it's amazing. Just take a moment. You know, we say that and we're like, oh, fireworks, hot dogs, apple pie, whatever, bunting. Just think about it. Our founding fathers just came up with some just insane idea, right? Insane idea in the 1700s, Kelley. They're like, hey, you know this whole thing where like kings rule and these monarchies rule, like there's always someone in power and then the rest of us are just peasants or subjects of the king. Why don't we try this? All the power is going to be with the people. And here we are 250 years later, and this grand experiment is still alive. It's amazing to think about. It really is.
It really is. It's wild. It's wild. Those, those kings were just out of touch, being months away on a ship ride. You know, it's just didn't know what was going on over here. Okay, we had to break apart. Sorry.
As those founding fathers allow us to do a show on sports betting over something called like streaming networks. You think
amazing.
They knew about?
God
it's
bless
incredible.
America. You just broke it down so well. You're right. That's what we do for a living. God
it's
bless
incredible.
the United States.
Paulie68 on Twitter. A little side note. People forget OG didn't even play in the finals. Oh, you talk about the Raptors back in the day?
Yeah. Smart, I believe.
And then 3 Jacques adds, he goes, Gill, clearly we need to be looking at a teaser bet on the hot dog eating contest. What would a 2-contestant 3-dog teaser pay out? Do we throw in a 3rd contestant and get plus money? I'd also look at alt under totals. There has to be value there. Yeah.
Alt unders, baby. Yeah, alt unders, baby. I'll tell you, my mind is so teaser warped these days that anytime I'm like making that transition out of football season to like me betting more NBA, just even seeing like Knicks catching 2.5 points. I'm like, oh wait, no, this is wrong sport. You're not teasing this, Kelley. Like, but you see that 2.5, you just think about teasing up. You know, you think about teasing down if you see a 7.5, 8.
We were talking about just different things with sports betting a little while ago, talking about Bitcoin. Do you want to get paid out of that kind of thing? So again, with tennis, and I go through this because Kelley's sweating out golf bets on the other side today, which is sort of like turnabout because usually it's me sweating out tennis. My tennis play has not started yet. Barbora Krejcikova -3 games against Nikola Bartunkova, still yet to start, should at any moment here. But the other sort of thing, and I brought this up before about tennis because I'm handicapping tennis every day. You're doing it by numbers. And so you'll have an edge in just, a tremendous amount of matches, especially when it's early matches in a slam, because there's tons of them. And so inevitably you decide, I'm not going to play these. I'm going to play these over here. So you're going to have some kind of filtering that is not often the most scientific, because sometimes your 8th best lean, right, that you eschew ends up winning, and your 6th best lean that you play doesn't. Such a regret again this morning. And it's one of these things, again, just as a window into a sports bettor's mind, that it's this constant tug of back and forth. Yesterday, great day. I even parlayed some of those dogs. It was a spectacular day. So instead of just being so happy about that, right, and still letting it drift into today, well, today's a new day, and I had a lean on Mochizuki on the men's side as a north of $2 dog on Rafa Hodar, the up-and-coming, next big thing in tennis. But I didn't play it, even though I had a lean on it. And why, Kelley? Because it's grass. And so unlike with clay and hard courts, where even as a junior player, I can see data. That's why we knew Ego was going to be so good, for instance, right? Especially on clay. But with grass, you just don't have the data. So on the one hand, I'm regretful. I had this lean because I know Mochizuki's numbers are really good. But the reason I didn't end up playing is because I respected the fact that I didn't have anything on Hodar grass-wise. And so that's why I didn't play it. And then Mochizuki comes out and win. So it's this, I guess what I'm saying is it's this constant reflection of the human condition. It's this constant push and pull of regret and confirmation of why you didn't do it. Then there's the superstition part of, well, yeah, but if I did play it, it wouldn't have won, right? There's that thing. So it's just such an interesting psychology to sports betting. It's what makes this so fascinating.
But with what your process is, it's not really something you would have ever considered.
No,
right? So
I just didn't have it.
Yeah, I don't know. When I run into those situations in golf, they're annoying, but they're a little easier to move on because you go back to that. I would have really never truly considered this. As much as I thought about it, I don't have numbers on what, I think we were talking about it a little bit on the break, but you got John Deere Classic going on, and this has kind of become an event where a lot of the college kids just turning pro, and some of the younger guys coming to the Corn Ferry Tour will go play this event with there being some openings, and a lot of the golf writers and stuff. You get really excited about seeing these guys like Jackson Coyven and stuff play. But I'm like, it's the same thing for me. I don't really have much data on these guys, and then they're listing them at 25-1, 30-1. Jackson Coyven was 4th, 5th on the odds board this week, and it's just not for me. So if he goes and wins the tournament, I'm just gonna say, hey, I lost one, but it's something I would have just never considered the way that I handicap golf.
Yeah, but again, it's always interesting. And by the way, you move on, right? The next bet happens and it purges from your brain. But in the moment, you have these things. Anyway, it's what makes sports betting so fascinating, right? These constant people who don't bet on sports would have no idea what is circling in our heads all moments of the day, depending on the sport, depending on how you handicap. It's an incredible thing it's an incredible fraternity we exist in. Let's go to baseball. Let's go to the American League because I want to look at some of these divisions. Yeah, these are heating up. Where the Tampa Bay Rays have a 4-game lead over the Yankees. It looked like the Yankees had sort of, they had the massive run differential, way north of 100 runs to the positive. It looked like they were securing this division, and then all of a sudden a 7-game slide. They have lost 7 in a row. They are 4 back of the Tampa Bay Rays. Right now, if we look at those division numbers, the Rays are -105 now to win the division. The Yankees are -115. Is that a plus in front of the Rays or a minus, Kelley?
That is a minus.
That is a minus, yeah. So it's really a coin flip. Everybody else 30-1 or longer. Let me just do real quick that whole, strength of schedule assessment that we did before. Again, say, for what it's worth, the Rays have the 7th easiest remaining schedule the rest of the way. The Yankees have the 11th hardest. What's the difference there? a 489 aggregate win percentage of the Rays' remaining opponents, 506 for the Yankees. Again, I don't go too crazy on that because that's just based on the actual standings. And you know how everything I handicap is based on, but their Pythag says this and their base runs and sequencing says this. So I don't know. Take that for what it's worth. I still think the Yankees are the play here, man. I really do.
So I'm getting itchy. I want to pull the trigger on it. Do we have any update on when Aaron Judge is coming back? Like this is, I feel like this is something that just keeps going on, and we're not getting much information on it. I would like to know more that I'm going to get him back here soon-ish.
Yeah, indefinitely sidelined, expected to remain out until at least late July or mid-August.
Okay.
Still a few weeks away from having imaging done to measure the healing process. So we don't know, Kelley.
I mean, a few weeks
no
away
idea.
from having imaging done. That's every update we get, it sounds more and more like, all right, see you come the playoffs, or around then. I'm with you though. Like that is 115. I might end up betting it anyways. I'm with you though. It's Yankees or nothing.
AL Central log jam also, right at the top of the AL Central, where the, about 10 days before the All-Star break, the White Sox and Guardians are in a tie. It is separated by percentage points. White Sox 45 and 41, Cleveland 45 and 42. So pardon me, a half game ahead of the Guardians are the White Sox. You look at these numbers. I mean, the White Sox are plus 150. The Guardians are the favorite at minus 110. You know me. I don't think very highly of the Guardians. Still awaiting the return of Jose Ramirez. I don't have a bet here. There's nothing here that makes me want to actually dive in with any conviction.
Are we making a big enough deal about the White Sox this season? Of just where were they at on the win totals? Third to last, or second lowest win total of the season? I think it was third lowest. That's crazy, and they are leading that division.
Strength of schedule, just to be thorough, Guardians, easiest remaining schedule in baseball the rest of the way. White Sox, third easiest. If you're looking further down the board in that division, the Twins have the 10th easiest. The Tigers have the 9th easiest remaining schedule. If you want to take shots at 9-1 and 14-1 respectively, I don't want any part of that division. We'll do the West next. We'll talk more soccer with Paul Carr. It's a numbers game at VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.